Hey, what's going on, guys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to go over the 4-1-2-1-2 custom tactics and instructions. I'm going to go through them, and as usual, if you can update me on what you think about this formation down below in the comment section, and that way I can update it, and that way I can adapt it, and that way it works for everyone. But let me go straight into it. So we go on pressure on heavy touch because it's a very attacking formation. Remember, this is an aggro formation. The 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, if you are going to play it, should be an aggro formation, or it could be balanced, but we're leaning towards, we want to press people on the ball, we want to be heavily attacking. The width we've gone with 55 just because the 4-1-2-1-2 is quite a narrow formation. This you can of course change this, so let's say for example some people like to play this even more narrow because they like just to defend the central column and the middle areas of the pitch. People actually reduce the width even further, but I think you just want to be just a tiny bit above average because the positioning is quite narrow anyway. You do lack wingers, don't forget, so you do have to be smart enough to move your left centre mid and right centre mid over manually when there is a chance to do so. Then we go over to depth. We have left this on 50. I think it's quite a good balance, quite a good ordinance between going forward and don't forget, when you got pressure on heavy touch as well, you need to be very careful. You don't want to be so far ahead because if in theory, okay, let's say for example in actual a game where you're battling for the win, what essentially happens is if you have a very high defensive line and you have pressure on every touch, is you could over press and you could lose the ball, your opponent can get it and then counter you. So you have to be very, very careful about how you go about doing this. So just, if I was you, don't go too high. The auto offside doesn't exist like it did last year. It just leave on 50, leave on balance. It works really well. If you want it, you can always increase this or decrease it depending on your style. So you might be an elite player, you might want to put this on 60, but you might also be a gold 3 player and you might say, you know what, it's a bit too high for me. So 50 is the best to go. Build up play, we've gone with long ball. It's always been the getting behind option. The main reason for this is in the first 2/3, left in the mid and the right in the mid and the cams, they don't have the getting behind instructions. Don't forget, long balls only for the first 2/3. It's only for the build up phase. So we want our players to be making runs going forward when we get the ball. So essentially, we want players to be making runs to get it behind so we can pass the ball through them, do the quick 1-2s, etc, etc, etc. For chance creation, we've gone with direct passing. This I think works well with a 4-1-2-1-2 just because you have two strikers and you have that cam. And I think the way it works is when now with forward runs, if you have a player on balance, they have very overflowing areas. But what I find that with direct passings, if you have them on getting behind, they make the right appropriate runs when there's actually an availability. You can always use the L1 trigger to supplement. I always still say to you need to use the L1 trigger to supplement the players to make runs behind. It's the most important thing. If you're watching this right now and you want to become a top tier player, you need to be using the L1 button with your CDMs to your strikers to make them make runs going forward. Because people will be playing different, people will be playing park the pass, people will be playing a very high offensive line. The key thing is being able to adapt. So with direct passing, works pretty good in combination with getting behind. And it doesn't really matter about the strikers being fast too much in my opinion, but of course you do want fast strikers. You don't be playing someone who's got 80 pace up front, so don't worry about that. The width, what we've done is we just left it on default, 55. I'm just playing around with this, and the reason why is we're going to have the left back and right back on join the attack, and I'll explain that as well in a second. Players in the box, you can increase this as you want to. Now long ball is important for the left back and right back so they make the runs going forward. And then what happens is, let me explain this to you. When you go forward, we want to have the CDM drop in, back 3. These guys go full at left mid, and you have the 4-1-2-1-2 over here as well. So you basically have the shape, and then the CDM drops in to make the back 3. So essentially, you're defending in a 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, but when you're attacking, it's basically a 3. I would say maybe you can consider this a 4. It depends how you line it, and a cam and a 2 strikers, similar to a 3-5-2, but definitely more centralized. Left mid and right mid do of course have that attacking threat down the wing. So instructions: stay forward, getting behind for both. Cams on comeback and defense. We want this to defend in a 4-4-2. If you want to defend this in a 4-4-2, have this guy for example go here, and have for example this guy go here. You put this guy on comeback and offense, you put this guy on cover wing, you put this guy on cover center, you put this guy on cover center and this guy on cover center, and these two become your two CDMs. That's what I mentioned last year. You can defend in a 4-4-2 and attack with a 4-1-2-1-2. So have like a defensive phase. You're like in a 4-4-2 system where you can press when you're attacking in a 4-1-2-1-2. Just to keep things simple, come back in offense, CDM, cover center, and you want to put drop in between defenders. That is the most important thing. You want to put drop in between defenders, and that way you create that, that back three. So do play a fast CDM here. Someone like Onyenka, someone that can play almost like a center back role, that can distribute is fine. Someone like Kante is also equally good, and that is basically it. The left center mid and right center mid, you leave them unbalanced. Just put them on cover center. If you find that you might have a player that's a bit, like, so let's say for example I got Llorente, right? So let's say Llorente is high medium, he's fine on balance. But let's say someone like Jimenez, I normally sub him off. If you struggle with this play, you can put him on get forward and you have that attacking threat. So that way you have 3 strikers up against 2 centre backs and another guy joining the attack to get a numerical advantage. The left centre mid and right centre mid, we're gone to a more advanced level. When I put this on my main YouTube channel, I'll do something like this. But I think for now, let's put this on balance, stay back while attacking, and then what we're going to do is leave this unbalanced. And then I want you to try step up. The reason I want to put them on stay back while attacking, overlap is important though. The reason I want to put them on step back while attacking though is because we want to trigger them forward manually ourselves. The way you do that is on the D-pad. Remember, if you press the D-pad button up, you activate your attacking tactics. If you go D-pad up, then right, you got to hug the sidelines. D-pad up, then left, you have attacking fullbacks or fullbacks join the attack. What this base does is it overrides this command, and the fullbacks then join the attack. So what this does is overrides this entire command and stay up while attacking. So you could basically switch it on like a light switch whenever you want, and they can basically join the attack very, very easily. I want you to try step up. Let me know on your skill level down below how you find step up. I'm finding it pretty useful, but I think for the average goal free player, they are struggling very much with it. So that is something just to take note of. So if you could try it, but just let me know what your honest opinion is and in regards to your skill level as well. But that is pretty much it. If you are going to be playing players here, you ideally want someone like Kappa or Cornet in these roles, and the reason for this is because they have actually good passing and got decent dribbling. Someone like Jesus, Navas, Cancelo are players that are quite dynamic, as opposed to traditional right backs like Wan-Bissaka will be perfect here. For your back three, because don't forget your CDM also drops in between when you're attacking, you need to have fast players here. You can't get away with Ruben Diaz, anyone like that. You need players that got good pace. I still use fullbacks and I will continue to do so. But if you are trying this out, make sure you do that. Left centre mid, right centre mid is fine. You see one box to box. If you're playing in a 4-2-3-1 system, you can always have box to box here, and that's your other CDM. And this one, you can relegate one of your attackers to this role over here, and you can always make them go forward when you want to, never fear about that. The cam, ideally you want basically someone like Son. Heung-min Son would be it. But obviously if you only got, let's say you got a cheap team like myself, and you let's say you have, like, obviously you don't put your marksman player there. So if you got the Neymar or the Mbappe, you don't put him in cam. Of course you put the main players in your striker. Then here is where you put someone that could probably get the job done, that's got better passing. If this was up to me, what I probably would do is I would sub off this guy Rodrigo, and I'll put Dembele on. I'll put this guy in cam, and I'll play Son him together. That way you have a good combination. But that is of course the 4-1-2-1-2 tactics. Do let me know on your feedback as I am working through this one. I hopefully want to get this done by next week. So do let me know on your feedback. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and of course I'll catch you next time. Peace out.